Your brain is actively working against you right now. Not laziness, not weakness. Your own neurology is designed to keep you exactly where you are, and today we expose it. Daily English Lab, the podcast where real conversations help you speak real English. Hey, English learners. Welcome back to Daily English Lab. I'm Lily.
And I'm Henry. And today's episode is one of the most uncomfortable ones we've ever recorded because we're talking about something that affects every single person listening.
Your brain is keeping you lazy. Not metaphorically, neurologically, scientifically. The organ inside your skull that you rely on for everything, thinking, deciding, creating, is actively running a system designed to stop you from doing the hard things that matter.
And until you understand exactly how it does that, you will keep losing to it every time.
Today, we're exposing the dark psychology of procrastination, the real mechanisms, the real vocabulary, and the real strategies that actually work against a brain that is genuinely working against you.
This episode is designed for B1 to C1 English learners, which means you'll practice advanced vocabulary, the kind used in psychology, neuroscience, and high-level professional conversations, while genuinely learning something that could change how your days actually go.
Two things at once. That's what we do here.
Let's get into it.
Henry, let's start where the problem actually begins. Not with motivation, not with habits, with the architecture of the brain itself. Because procrastination is not a character flaw. It is the predictable output of two brain systems pulling in opposite directions simultaneously. System 1, the limbic system. The ancient, emotional, survival-oriented part of your brain. Its job has always been the same. Keep you safe, comfortable, and alive right now. It does not care about your goals. It does not care about your future. It cares about immediate comfort. System 2, the prefrontal cortex, the newer, rational, planning part of your brain. This is where goals live, where long-term thinking happens, where the version of yourself that wants to exercise and study and create and grow actually resides. Henry, let's start where the problem actually begins. Not with motivation, not with habits, with the architecture of the brain itself.
Because procrastination is not a character flaw. It is the predictable output of two brain systems pulling in opposite directions simultaneously.
System 1, the limbic system, the ancient, emotional, survival-oriented part of your brain. Its job has always been the same. Keep you safe, comfortable, and alive right now. It does not care about your goals. It does not care about your future. It cares about immediate comfort.
System 2, the prefrontal cortex, the newer, rational, planning part of your brain. This is where goals live, where long-term thinking happens, where the version of yourself that wants to exercise and study and create and grow actually resides.
And the critical fact, the one that changes everything when you understand it, is that these two systems are not equal in the moment.
In the present moment, under stress, under tiredness, under any form of discomfort, the limbic system dominates. It is faster, more powerful in the short term, and evolutionarily older.
Your prefrontal cortex knows you should study for 2 hours. Your limbic system feels the discomfort of starting and immediately offers an alternative. Something easier, something more comfortable, something now.
And because the limbic system operates faster than conscious thought, the decision to avoid is made before your rational brain has even fully registered what's happening.
You didn't decide to procrastinate. Your brain decided for you before you knew it was deciding.
That is the dark psychology of procrastination. Not laziness, neurological hijacking.
Research from psychology identifies 4 specific characteristics of tasks that reliably trigger avoidance responses in the brain. 4 triggers. If a task has any of them, your limbic system begins its counteroffensive immediately.
Trigger 1. Boredom. The brain requires novelty and stimulation to sustain engagement. A task that feels repetitive or unstimulating activates the default mode network, the brain state associated with mind wandering and distraction.
Trigger 2. Frustration. When a task feels confusing, unclear, or beyond current skill level, the brain reads this as a threat. Not a literal threat, but neurologically, the frustration signal activates the same avoidance circuitry as actual danger.
Trigger 3. Anxiety. The anticipation of potential failure, judgment, or inadequacy triggers the amygdala, the brain's threat detection center, before the task even begins. You haven't started yet, and your brain is already processing the potential pain of not succeeding.
Trigger 4. Resentment. When a task feels imposed, meaningless, or disconnected from your own values and goals, a subtle form of psychological resistance emerges. The brain doesn't just avoid, it actively rebels.
So examine your procrastination through this lens. Is the task boring, frustrating, anxiety-producing, resentment-inducing? The trigger tells you something important about what the actual problem is.
Because the solution to boredom-triggered procrastination is different from the solution to anxiety-triggered procrastination. Understanding the trigger is the diagnosis. The diagnosis precedes the treatment. Henry, tell me about your own experience with procrastination. Not the theory, the lived reality.
I want to tell you about a specific period, about 2 years ago, that I've never described publicly before.
Go ahead.
I had a project, a significant one, something that mattered to me deeply, and I spent approximately 11 weeks not doing it.
11 weeks.
11 weeks of waking up every morning knowing I should work on it, feeling the weight of it before I'd fully opened my eyes, and then spending each day doing everything except it.
What were you doing instead?
Everything else. Genuinely productive things. I cleaned my apartment to a standard I have never achieved before or since. I answered every email within minutes. I read 3 books that had nothing to do with the project. I reorganized systems that didn't need reorganizing.
Productive avoidance.
The most insidious form of procrastination, because it doesn't feel like procrastination. You feel busy, you feel accomplished, and every other area of your life gets better, while the one thing that matters stays untouched.
What was driving it?
Anxiety trigger. The project mattered so much that failing at it felt catastrophic, and my brain, trying to protect me from that potential catastrophe, simply refused to begin. Not starting was safer than starting and discovering the fear was justified.
The protective power of not knowing.
Exactly. As long as I hadn't tried, I hadn't failed. The potential was preserved. The attempt would put that potential at risk.
What broke the spiral?
One decision. I decided the goal was not to do the project. The goal was to open the document and write 1 sentence. Just 1. The project itself was too large for my limbic system to accept. 1 sentence was beneath its notice.
You made the first action smaller than the threat threshold.
Below the detection level. And I wrote 1 sentence. And then another. And by the time my brain registered what was happening, I had been working for 40 minutes.
The momentum trick. Action precedes motivation.
Always. Every time. Without exception in my experience. I have never once felt motivated before I started something difficult. The motivation arrives after the start, never before.
Lily, your procrastination story is different from mine, I think. Tell me about it.
Mine is subtler and took longer to recognize because it didn't look like procrastination at all.
What did it look like?
It looked like preparation. For a very long time, I had a goal, a creative goal, that I was perpetually preparing for. More research, more planning, more skill development, more waiting until the conditions were right.
The eternal preparation phase.
Which feels nothing like procrastination in the moment. It feels responsible. It feels like conscientiousness. I'm not ready yet. I need to learn more first. I need to be better prepared.
And the preparation never ended.
Because it couldn't. Because the real function of the preparation wasn't readiness. It was protection. As long as I was preparing, I was technically working toward the goal. But I was never exposed to the judgment of actually attempting it.
What trigger was driving that?
A combination of anxiety and resentment. But the resentment was turned inward. I resented myself for not being ready yet, which made me feel less capable, which made the goal feel more intimidating, which triggered more anxiety, which justified more preparation.
A self-reinforcing cycle.
Perfectly designed to never end. What broke it, and this sounds almost too simple, was someone asking me one question. What would you do today if you already were good enough?
That's a powerful reframe.
Because it removed the waiting condition. It assumed the readiness and asked what action would follow from it. And when I answered honestly, I would just start. I realized that starting was available to me right now. The preparation wasn't a prerequisite. It was a story I was telling myself to justify delay.
The readiness was a fiction.
Constructed by my limbic system to protect me from the discomfort of trying something that mattered. Disguised as responsibility. Disguised as conscientiousness. Absolutely impeccable camouflage. Dear learner, maybe Henry's story resonates. The productive avoidance. The everything else getting better while the one thing stays untouched.
Or maybe Lily's story is more familiar. The eternal preparation. The readiness that never quite arrives.
Or maybe yours looks different again. Social media, sleep, helping everyone else. Any behavior that feels acceptable in the moment while something important waits.
The form changes. The function is always the same. Protection from the discomfort of attempting something that genuinely matters to you.
And now you understand the neuroscience of why. The limbic system, the prefrontal cortex, the 4 triggers, the threshold trick, the motivation follows action reality.
Understanding it is the beginning of changing it. Not the whole solution, but the beginning.
Let's go somewhere darker. Because procrastination isn't always just avoidance. Sometimes it functions as something more troubling. Active self-sabotage.
Explain that distinction.
Avoidance says, this is uncomfortable. I'll do it later. Self-sabotage says, if I don't try, I can't fail. And if I can't fail, I can keep believing in the possibility of my success without ever risking the reality.
The dream preserved by never testing it.
Exactly. And there is a specific psychological term for this, self-handicapping. The deliberate, often unconscious, creation of obstacles that explain potential failure in advance.
I would have done better if I'd had more time. Which is true, because you made sure you had less time. Unconsciously, strategically, to protect your self-image in case the result is disappointing.
This is the darkest corner of procrastination psychology. Not laziness, not disorganization. A sophisticated defensive mechanism built to protect ego at the cost of achievement.
And the terrible irony is that it accomplishes the exact opposite of what it intends. It doesn't protect you from failure. It guarantees it, just with a built-in excuse.
I didn't really try is the shield, but the shield becomes the wound.
How do you break that specific pattern?
By deciding that the attempt is more valuable than the result. By redefining what success means, from achieving the outcome to completing the attempt. Every attempt is a success. Every completion is data. Every failure is information that makes the next attempt more intelligent.
Reframe the game entirely.
Change what you're measuring, and the fear of losing changes too.
Let's get practical. 3 techniques that are grounded in neuroscience rather than motivational mythology.
Technique 1. Temporal self-continuity. Research shows that procrastinators perceive their future selves as strangers, psychologically distant people who will deal with the consequences of today's avoidance.
The future you is someone else's problem.
The technique is to make your future self feel more like you. Write a letter to yourself for 6 months from now. Describe in detail what you want that person's life to look like. The more vivid the connection to your future self, the less willing you become to burden them with your current avoidance.
Technique 2. Implementation intentions. Research consistently shows that vague intentions fail and specific ones succeed. Not, I will work on the project this week, but I will work on the project on Tuesday at 9 a.m. at my desk for 90 minutes before checking any messages.
The specificity removes the decision in the moment. When Tuesday at 9 arrives, there is no question of whether you feel like it. The decision was made in advance. Your limbic system has a narrower window to intervene.
Technique 3. Environment architecture. Your environment is making decisions for you constantly. The phone on your desk is deciding that you will check it. The snacks in the kitchen are deciding that you will eat them. The notifications on your laptop are deciding that you will read them.
Design your environment so the hard thing is the easy thing. Remove friction from the behavior you want. Add friction to the behavior you don't.
Put the book on the desk. Leave the document open. Put the gym shoes at the door. Make the start so easy that your limbic system doesn't notice it's happening until you're already moving.
And once you're moving, momentum takes over. Because action generates motivation, not the other way around.
Your brain cannot sustain avoidance of something you've already started. The discomfort of not finishing activates something called the Zeigarnik effect, the brain's tendency to continue thinking about incomplete tasks.
Start the thing, and your brain becomes your ally instead of your obstacle. The hardest moment is always the first 30 seconds. Let's take today's most powerful vocabulary into the word tour.
Our first word is neurological. 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 It relates to the nervous system and the brain, the physical mechanisms of thought and behavior. You could say procrastination has neurological roots. It's not just a bad habit. Or understanding the neurological basis of avoidance changes how we approach it.
Our next word is amygdala. 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 The amygdala is the brain region responsible for processing threats and triggering fear responses. You could say the amygdala activates before you've even consciously registered the threat. Or anxiety-triggered procrastination involves the amygdala interpreting a task as dangerous.
Our next phrase is self-handicapping. 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 It means unconsciously creating obstacles that explain potential failure in advance. You could say, leaving no time to prepare is a form of self-handicapping. Or self-handicapping protects your ego but guarantees the failure it was designed to prevent.
Our next phrase is temporal self-continuity. Temporal self-continuity. Temporal self-continuity. It refers to the psychological sense of connection between your present and future self. You could say low temporal self-continuity makes procrastination feel consequence-free, or strengthening your temporal self-continuity reduces your willingness to burden your future self.
Our last phrase is implementation intention. Implementation intention. Implementation intention. Implementation intention. It means a specific plan that states exactly when, where, and how you will take action. You could say, vague intentions fail. Implementation intentions succeed. Or, I set an implementation intention. Tuesday, 9 a.m., desk, 90 minutes, no phone. 5 words. Neurological, amygdala, self-handicapping, temporal self-continuity, and implementation intention. 5 words that give you a genuine scientific vocabulary for understanding and defeating procrastination.
Now it's time to use your English right here. This is Speak with Lily. Say your lines out loud, honestly and specifically.
Think of one thing you've been procrastinating on. Which of the 4 triggers is driving it? Boredom, frustration, anxiety, or resentment?
Good diagnosis. Now tell me, is your procrastination avoidance or self-handicapping? Are you protecting yourself from discomfort or protecting yourself from discovering a limit?
That's an honest answer. Now, what is the smallest possible first action? Below the threat threshold, what can you do in the next 60 seconds that counts?
Now set an implementation intention. Say out loud, I will do this on day, at, time, at, location, for, duration.
Finally, write one sentence to your future self, 6 months from now. What do you want them to have that your current procrastination is keeping from them? Hold on to that sentence. That's the person you're working for. Thank you for doing that today. That was real work.
So, dear learner, your brain is not your enemy, but it is running old programming that was designed for survival, not achievement. And until you understand that programming, it will keep running your life without your permission.
The limbic system versus the prefrontal cortex. 4 triggers: productive avoidance, eternal preparation, self-handicapping, temporal self-continuity, implementation intentions, environment architecture.
These are not motivational concepts. These are neurological realities. And now you have the language for them.
Name the trigger. Shrink the start. Set the implementation intention. Design the environment. Start before you feel ready. And trust that motivation follows action. Every single time.
Take care of your English.
And take care of your brain. You understand it better now than you did 30 minutes ago.
This is Henry.
This is Lily.
And you've been listening to Daily English Lab.
Bye for now.